life insurance. Life insurance is to replace lost income due to death. Someone early in this business came up with a better marketing term, because it's not really life insurance, is it? It's death insurance. It insures your death, not your life. So when you die, someone else is going to get some money. So it's really of no concern to you. Yeah, it is, because we care about those that we leave behind, and we want to do a good job in our financial planning. And so what we're trying to do here is, if you're making some money and your family's eating off of that money and you die, you won't be making money anymore. And we need to replace that income that's lost due to death. Most people, when it comes to life insurance, have no idea what they own. And a scary statistic is this: 22% of the public, that's about a fourth, have no life insurance whatsoever. And that's a bad number, especially with rates the way they are today and how things are going on. Now, let's look at the different kinds of life insurance, because I've got a distinct opinion on this, and this is the lesson where I make all the insurance people really mad. I mean, really, 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 really hate mail mad. And you know how much I care? Not at all. So just send me some more things I can put in the shredder. It's fine with me. Couldn't care less. I've been studying this for years, and I've converted more people out of the insurance business to my way of thinking, because it's not really my way of thinking. This stuff's been taught for years in financial planning. Two kinds of life insurance. There's term life insurance. It's for a specified period, for a term. If you have 5-year term, it's for a 5-year term. That's why they call it that. It's cheaper, has no savings plan built into it. Then there are cash value insurance plans, and they're normally for life. They're more expensive, much more expensive, in order to fund a savings plan. And they sometimes are called permanent insurance. You may have heard them called that. Sometimes these are called whole life, or universal life, or variable universal life, or just variable life. These are the phrases used to cover cash value types insurance. Term is always called term. The rest of this has some other kind of name always, and it builds a savings plan inside of it. But I don't know that there's really anything permanent about your need for life insurance. The most common insurance myth is that the need for life insurance is a permanent situation. The only permanent situation I can think of is your agent's need for a commission. 20 years from now, if you do what we teach, you will have become self-insured. Let's think through this for just a second. Who in here is about, say, like 30 years old with a couple of kids? Right here. What's your all's names?
Dwayne and Brenda Phillips.
Dwayne and Brenda. Good to meet you, sir. Looking all proper here in your tie. You're sharp, man. So how old are your kiddos?
We have one that's 8 and one that's 10 months.
One that's 8 and one that is 10 months. Perfect. Would y'all just kind of stand up? I'm not going to mess with you or make you mad or anything. I just need a really good example, okay? 8 and 10 months. Wow, very cool. All right, Dwayne and Brenda. Did I do that right? Okay, I've got a good memory. It's just short. Okay, now, Dwayne and Brenda are 30 years old. They've got 2 kids. Now, think about this for a second. If they bought 20-year level term life insurance, like I suggest, 20 years from now, they'll be 50. 20 years from now, the 8-year-old will be 28 and should have left home. Then we've got the 10-month-old that will be about 21 years old, probably in college, and about to leave home. Now, let's say that at that point they do what I teach and they took out no more than a 15-year mortgage. Their house would be paid for, wouldn't it? Say yes.
Yes.
Would they have any other debt?
No.
Never. Okay. Would they have an emergency fund fully funded? 20 years later, easy, right? If they were doing their Roth IRAs and their 401ks like we're going to teach you in the other baby steps in the investment lessons, they might have $700,000, $800,000 or even more in their retirement accounts, right? Okay. Now, let's just think a minute. We're not trying to get rid of you anytime soon, but let's say at 52 years old he drops dead with no insurance. The kids are grown and gone. She has $800,000 in the investment plan and a paid-for house. No insurance. Can she suffer through?
Yes.
You've become self-insured using financial planning. Getting out of debt, building wealth, and growing up the kids and tossing them out helped you to become self-insured. Does that make sense? So see why there is not a permanent need for life insurance? This is what we're dealing with.
I was a financial specialist. I have not seen a whole life policy that's returned what was originally promised.
I'm an independent agent now. I don't work directly for any one company. I represent my clients. When you die, all that money that you've invested, that $800 that may be earning some interest on you, you don't get the cash value. The beneficiary is only paid the death benefit.
It's been my experience when somebody passes away, when they have cash value insurance, that the cash value is essentially lost.
In going into the insurance industry, I told them that I was a Dave Ramsey fan and that I only believed in selling term insurance, and they said that that was fine. The commission in that office on a universal life policy is 45%, as to where on term you get 28% commission.
Promotions would come available that I was more than qualified for, and I was passed up, told countless times whenever I would ask why, is because I try to rock the boat.
The reality of it is that this is what the companies want sold, and this is the most profitable program available to the agent. When they're paying you 4 or 6% on the cash value, they're most likely earning 8, 10, or higher percentages of return that they keep. So they're using your money to make money.
I began to question and doubt and this gnawing feeling of, am I taking advantage of those very people that I got into the industry to help?
Yeah, when you buy a whole life policy, in most cases, if you knew the details of it, you wouldn't be buying it. Selling those policies absolutely gave me problems in my heart over time.
I believe that you should buy term and invest the difference.
If you make investments, you should make investments separate from life insurance. Life insurance is never a good investment vehicle. If you're talking to an agent who's trying to sell it to you as an investment, first thing you should do is get up and walk out the door, because there's no comparison.
Now, so what I did is I pulled some of the plans that are offered out there right now. As a matter of fact, I have my staff do research and pull the cost on the largest 5 companies out there that sell the cash value insurance plans. And I said, what if a 30-year-old like Dwayne and Brenda wanted to buy some insurance? And we wanted to put $125,000 in whole life or cash value insurance on Dwayne. How much would that cost? Well, the figures came back, and the average of the top 5 companies, by the way, the rates were very close, they're very competitive with each other, was $145 a month. It's a lot of money, isn't it? Isn't it? Say yes. It's a lot of money. $145 a month. And I said, well, you know, $125,000, that's not really enough insurance. If something happened to him, you go through $125,000 with 2 little kids in a heartbeat, couldn't you? And so I said, well, let's get a better amount of insurance, about $400,000, which is about 10 times the average household income. The average household income is about $40,000, so we're going to do about 10 times that. I'll explain that in a few minutes. $400,000 in insurance. The weird thing is that I was able to buy that on a 30-year-old with about 20 seconds on a website. I was able to figure out I could buy that if he's healthy for $10 a month. Not $125,000 of insurance for $145 a month, but $400,000 in insurance that has no savings inside of it for $10 a month, which leaves me an extra $135 to invest. Because the first plan has a savings plan built into it. You understand? The second plan does not. The second plan is just insurance. So you didn't get the insurance. Now, I said, okay, well, that extra $135 I'm spending, I wonder what I'm getting for it. So I did a little bit further research. Our team dug in, and we pulled back the average returns from these companies' actual projections that they sent to us. We didn't make this up. This is research. Okay? And at age 50, what would have happened is inside Dwayne's policy, it would have built up to $27,500 in cash value, and that's the average of the 5 companies. By age 70, he would have, by paying an extra $135 a month, built it all the way up to $66,000. Well, that seems pretty good. I've got a little retirement thing going here. I've got some insurance going here. Not bad at all. And that's how they sell this trash. And here's why it's trash. If I buy $400,000 worth of insurance, a whole lot more, say yes, yes, for $10, and I put $135 in a decent growth stock mutual fund, maybe in a Roth IRA growing tax-free as an example, at age 50, you'd have $133,000, and at age 70, you'd have $1,500,000. Now let's see, $66,000, $1,500,000. Let me think about which one of those I want. For a nanosecond? I mean, it doesn't take but a second to figure out which of these is a better deal. You know what gets worse? It gets worse. Because here's the way cash value insurance works in almost every one of the plans. If Dwayne were to die after paying an extra $135 all those years at age 50, you know how much they pay her? They pay her $125,000, the face amount of the policy. What happened to the $27,000 that he worked so hard paying that $135 extra for all those years? They keep it. This is a dumb, dumb plan. If you have cash value insurance, get term insurance immediately. Do not pass go. Do it right now. Get term insurance in place, cancel that trash, and you've got a lot better plan going over here. See, here's the problem when you get into it. Returns on the cash value, as you can see, are historically low. We calculated those mutual fund rates at 12% average annual return. The stock market for the last 70 years has averaged 11.8%. So it's easy to use 12%. We'll cover that in the investment lesson. With the average cash value policy, again, there are three types. CFA, Consumer Federation of America, studied these policies, and after fees, which, by the way, if you look the first 3 years, your cash value buildup in most of these policies is zero. They keep the $135 a month for 3 years and call that fees. And then they keep a lot of it in fees after that because the average whole life policy is averaging 2.6% in the last 6 years. That's what they're averaging. Universal lives are averaging 4.2%, and variable universal lives are averaging 7.4%. Now, variable universal lives where they pitch you a mutual fund inside of your thing. So you got a mutual fund in there that's earning 12 or 14%, but you're getting a net yield of 7.4. Somebody's making out with some money here. It's called fees. Because when you walk your investment down the hallway of the life insurance company, they are picking at your pockets all the way down. And by the time you get to the end, there's not going to be anything left. So that's the problem. So number one, when you buy cash value insurance, you get a crummy rate of return. Number two, when you die with cash value, the insurance company keeps the cash value. The exception to that is the variable. But with the traditional whole life or the traditional universal life, they keep the cash value and they only pay the face amount. Dumb to have a savings account that's paying a poor rate of return, and when you die, they keep your money. It's dumb. The fees deducted from your return are extremely high, thereby limiting your return. You know, well, Dave, I need to really understand this because I'm going to sit down with my insurance agent and I'm going to explain it to him. Why? Why do you need to explain to your insurance company why you're firing them? Why do you owe them that obligation? You just need to say, you're fired. Practice with me. Say it. You're fired. That's all you got to do. Well, it's my brother-in-law. Well, I don't care. All the more reason to fire him. Seriously, a lot of the insurance we bought, and I bought whole life too, when I first came out of college, was sold by a guy that we knew from college. It's an old friend. It's a roommate. It's a family, isn't it? Yes? Is that how you bought it? Okay, that's how it's sold. It's sold on relationships. And they work their little network, and they go out and sell everybody. And then they get out of the business, usually. It's very unusual to find a cash value person who's made a life of this. It's very, very unusual. So don't try to argue with them. Let me tell you, if they win the argument, you keep an insurance policy. That's a bad one. If you win the argument, if they have integrity, they have to quit their job. And so what's happened with me explaining those numbers over the radio for years and in this class for years, I've convicted people who've been in the insurance business for maybe 5, 6, 7 years. And they really, for the first time, saw the product that they were selling. And a lot of people in the insurance business are selling term only just because they've heard me explain this. And they went, I can't do this with integrity anymore because it's just a bad product. It's one of the worst financial products out there today, bar none. It's right up there with payday loans. Stay away from it. Stupid idea. It's payday lending for the middle class. That's really what it is. So buy low-cost, level term insurance. That's what you're supposed to buy. Don't forget to buy for the spouse. Now, what's that mean? If your spouse is working, then you would buy insurance to replace their income. But let's say Brenda was a full-time mom. Well, I mean, Sharon, my wife's been a full-time mom since our oldest child was born. And so for all those years, we've carried, in the early years when we were broke, we carried $200,000 on her, and after that, we've carried $400,000 on her. Why? Because if something happens to Sharon, I got to hire Mary Poppins.